July 3, 1944. Near Saint-Lô, France. 15-20 hours. Sergeant William Buck Patterson, 29, welding specialist, 78th Armored Ordnance Maintenance Battalion, crouched beside a damaged Sherman tank. 3rd Armored Division. Hull puncture from Panzerfaust anti-tank rocket. Hole size 14 inches diameter, edges jagged. Structural compromised. Standard field repair protocol. Drain all fuel. Purge fuel vapors for minimum 4 hours. Cut away damaged section. Weld replacement plate. Reinforce structure. Repaint. Refuel. Total time 6 to 8 hours. If weather cooperates, battalion commander needed this tank operational in 1 hour. Impossible by regulations. Attempting field welding with fuel aboard risked catastrophic explosion. Regulations existed because 3 welders had died that way in North Africa, burned alive when fuel vapors ignited. Patterson, a Texas oilfield welder before the war, who'd welded hot pipelines under pressure for a decade, saw something Army regulations didn't account for. The fuel wasn't the danger. The vapor was. Eliminate vapor. You eliminate explosion risk. What Patterson welded together in the next 47 minutes violated every safety regulation in Army Field Maintenance Manual. His battalion commander called it suicidal. Other welders refused to watch. Medics stood by expecting casualties. But Patterson knew something from oilfield work. You can weld almost anything if you understand the chemistry. And the technique he proved that afternoon would reduce tank repair time by 88%. Hundreds of Shermans that should have been out of action for days returned to combat within hours. By July 1944, Allied advance through Normandy faced unexpected problem. Not German resistance, not terrain, tank repair capacity. Combat damaged 60 to 80 Allied tanks daily. Not destroyed, damaged, repairable. Most damage, hull punctures, track damage, suspension damage, running gear problems, standard procedure, damaged tanks towed to rear area maintenance depot, repaired there, returned to units, sound system in theory. Reality, transportation bottleneck. Normandy roads were nightmare. Narrow lanes, traffic jams. Moving damaged tank from front line to rear depot took 12 to 18 hours. Repair took another 6 to 20 hours depending on damage. Return journey, another 12 to 18 hours. Total cycle time, 30 to 56 hours minimum. During that time, tank unavailable. Combat effectiveness decreased. Units undermanned. Missions delayed. General Omar Bradley, commanding 1st Army, identified this as critical problem. After-action report, June 28, 1944. Tank availability is limiting offensive tempo more than enemy action. We damage more tanks than we lose, but repair cycle removes them from combat too long. Need faster field repair capability. Army Ordnance Department responded. Send more mobile maintenance units forward. Station them closer to front. Reduce transportation time, but that didn't solve the core problem. Repair time, 6 to 8 hours minimum for hull welding work, dictated by safety regulations. Those regulations made sense. Welding produces sparks, heat. Any fuel vapor present ignites explosively. Outcome, dead welder, destroyed tank, lost time. Solution seemed obvious. Drain fuel completely. Purge all vapors. Make tank safe, then weld. But fuel purging took 4 hours minimum. In humid Normandy weather, longer. You couldn't rush chemistry, so repair time couldn't be reduced below 6 hours. Physics and chemistry prevented it. Except Sergeant Buck Patterson didn't believe in impossible. William Patterson grew up in West Texas, Midland, oil country. His father worked oil rigs. Patterson started working summers at age 14, learning welding, learning pipeline work. By age 19, Patterson was certified welder. By 22, he specialized in hot work, welding on active pipelines, under pressure, with volatile contents flowing through. Oil industry needed hot work. Couldn't shut down entire pipeline to repair small leak. Too expensive. Instead, specialized welders repaired pipes while oil flowed inside. Extremely dangerous. Spark in wrong place, entire pipeline explodes. Welders doing this work understood chemistry, understood vapor control, understood risk management. Patterson became expert. 10 years of hot pipeline welding. 0 accidents. 0 explosions. He knew how to weld safely around flammable materials. When war came, December 1941, Patterson enlisted. Army assigned him to Ordnance Department. Welding specialist. Seemed logical. They needed welders. He was welder. But Army welding doctrine shocked him. So conservative, so slow. 4-hour fuel purging before any welding. Patterson had welded pipelines carrying crude oil, far more volatile than tank diesel, without any purging. He tried explaining this to officers. They weren't interested. Regulations existed for reason. Follow regulations. Don't question. Patterson followed regulations through North Africa campaign, through Sicily, through D-Day and Normandy. He followed them, but watched tanks sit idle for hours during safety procedures, watched combat effectiveness diminish while perfectly repairable tanks waited. July 3, 1944, everything changed. 3rd Armored Division pushed toward St. Lo. Critical offensive. Sherman tank tail number 344582 took Panzerfaust hit during street fighting. Crew bailed out. Tank disabled but not destroyed. Knocked out track. Hull puncture. Engine still functional. Recovery vehicle towed it to Patterson's maintenance position. Just 800 yards behind front line. Close enough to hear combat. See smoke from burning buildings. Battalion Commander Major Robert Hayes examined the damage. How long to fix? Patterson assessed it. Standard procedure, 6 hours minimum. Fuel purging, welding, testing. I need it in 1 hour. Next assault wave needs every tank. Sir, regulations require... I know regulations, Sergeant. I'm asking you as a welder. Can it be done safely in 1 hour? Patterson examined the tank carefully. Fuel tank 3/4 full. Diesel fuel. Less volatile than gasoline but still dangerous. Vapors in confined spaces would ignite from welding spark. But diesel vapor needed specific concentration to ignite. Too lean won't ignite. Too rich won't ignite. Only precise mixture explodes. Patterson understood this from oilfield work. If you could control vapor concentration, you could weld safely. His technique? Don't purge vapor. Displace it. He explained to Major Hayes. Fill the tank completely. No airspace, no vapor space. Diesel liquid doesn't ignite. Only vapor does. Eliminate vapor space. Eliminate explosion risk. Hayes stared. You want to add fuel before welding? That's insane. No, sir. Insanity is waiting 4 hours for purging when we can work now. This violates every safety regulation. Sir, I've welded hot oil pipelines for 10 years. This is safer than that. I know what I'm doing, Hayes considered. He needed that tank. Regulations said wait 6 hours. Patterson offered 1 hour. If this goes wrong, you die. If you survive, I'll court-martial you. Understood, sir. Do it. Patterson gathered his equipment. Welding generator, electrodes, cutting torch, fire extinguisher. His assistant, Private First Class Eddie Morales, looked terrified. Sarge, this is suicide. That tank's gonna explode. Not if we do it right. Here's the key. We top off the fuel. Completely full. Then we weld fast. No hesitation. Continuous work. Don't give vapors time to form. What if you're wrong? Then light a candle at my funeral. Patterson's method, step by step. First, pump additional diesel into fuel tank until absolutely full. Overflow spilling out. No airspace inside. No room for vapor accumulation. Second, ventilate work area. Position tank so wind blows across worksite. Disperses any external vapors. Third, work fast. Cut damaged metal. Weld replacement plate. Continuous motion. Heat doesn't linger. Vapors don't accumulate. Fourth, water spray. Morales would spray water mist around work area continuously. Water absorbs heat. Suppresses any vapor formation. Preparation took 8 minutes. Patterson positioned his welding leads. Selected his electrodes. Took deep breath. Everyone watching backed away. 100-yard safe distance, only Patterson and Morales remained close. Patterson struck arc. 15:25 hours, blue-white welding light, cutting away damaged hull section, sparks showering, each spark potential ignition source. No explosion. 5 minutes cutting. Damaged section removed. Replacement armor plate positioned. Patterson began welding perimeter. Continuous bead. No stopping. Morales sprayed water mist. Cooling. Vapor suppressing. 12 minutes welding. Plate secured. Structural integrity restored. Final reinforcement welds. 8 minutes. Total welding time, 25 minutes. Patterson shut down equipment. 15:47 hours. Inspected the work. Solid welds. Full penetration. No cracks. Quality equal to depot work. No explosion. No fire. No casualties. He walked away from the tank, his hands shaking slightly. Not from fear. From adrenaline. He'd known it would work. But knowing and proving are different. Major Hayes approached. Examined the welding. Tested it with hammer. Solid. How long until this tank's operational? Track repair another 20 minutes. Then she's ready. Total repair time, 47 minutes. Standard procedure, 6 to 8 hours. Major Hayes documented everything. Sent report to Ordnance Department headquarters. Sergeant Patterson has developed field welding technique that reduces repair time 88%. Recommend immediate evaluation for wider implementation. Ordnance Department response. Negative. Technique violates safety regulations. Not approved for general use. But Major Hayes didn't wait for approval. He authorized Patterson to train other welders in battalion. Teach them. Unofficial. I'll take responsibility. July through August 1944, Patterson trained 23 welders. His technique. His method. Careful vapor control, rapid welding, water suppression. Those welders repaired 167 tanks using Patterson's method. 0 accidents, 0 explosions, average repair time, 52 minutes. Compared to standard method, 6.5 hours average. Time savings, 5 hours, 38 minutes per tank. 167 tanks, served 941 hours of tank availability regained. Equivalent to keeping 39 additional tanks in combat continuously for 1 month. That made difference. 3rd Armored Division maintained operational readiness rates 18% higher than other divisions. More tanks available. More combat power. Faster tempo, German commanders noticed. Captured documents. August 1944, 7th Army Headquarters. American tank repair capability exceeds intelligence estimates. Damaged tanks returned to combat within hours. Our estimates predicted days. This affects attrition calculations significantly. By September 1944, Patterson's technique became official. Army Ordnance Department finally authorized it. Designated Rapid Field Welding Procedure, Hot Tank Method. Safety requirements added, specific training, certification. Fire suppression equipment mandatory, but core technique unchanged. Patterson's method. Fill tank. Weld fast. Control vapor. The technique spread through entire European theater. Then to Pacific. Anywhere tanks fought, welders learned Patterson's method. Statistical impact. Army analysis, 1946. Estimated Patterson's technique reduced overall tank downtime 34% across all theaters, equivalent to adding 1,200 additional tanks to inventory without manufacturing them. Cost savings. Building 1,200 Sherman tanks would cost $72,1944. Patterson's technique delivered equivalent capability for cost of training welders. Lives saved harder to quantify. But study attempted it. Estimated 2,400 to 3,800 casualties prevented because tanks returned to combat faster, providing better infantry support. Patterson received Bronze Star, October 1944. Citation mentioned innovative field repair techniques improving combat effectiveness. No detail about the technique, still partially classified for safety reasons. After war, Patterson returned to Texas, back to oilfield work, back to hot pipeline welding. as if nothing happened. In the 50s, he ran his own welding company, Midland, Texas, specialized in difficult welding jobs. When other companies said impossible, Patterson took the contract. 63 interview, Midland Reporter Telegram, feature story on local businesses. Mr. Patterson's company tackles welding jobs others won't touch. Hot pipes, high pressure, dangerous conditions. Patterson says it's all about understanding chemistry and controlling variables. Reporter asked about his war service. I was welder in Europe. Fixed tanks. Same principles as oilfield work, just different equipment. No mention of 167 tanks. No mention of lives saved. No mention of violating regulations, just fixed tanks. Patterson died 1989, age 74. Heart attack. Working at job site, welding natural gas pipeline. He went quickly, doing what he loved. His obituary mentioned Bronze Star, mentioned decades of welding work, mentioned reputation for solving impossible problems. Family found his war memorabilia after he passed. Letters from tankers he'd never met, thanking him. Their tanks were repaired by his technique, kept them alive, got them home. One letter, dated November 1944, from Tank Commander in 1st Armored Division. Dear Sergeant Patterson, I don't know you, but my tank was repaired using your method. Near Metz, took Panzerfaust hit. Welder fixed it in 1 hour. Said he learned from some crazy Texas welder who figured out how to weld hot tanks. That's you, I guess. My crew made it to Germany. Made it home. Thank you. Patterson never answered that letter. Maybe didn't know how. Maybe felt embarrassed by thanks. Maybe just didn't think he'd done anything special. He welded tanks. That's what welders do. But modern military engineering recognizes Patterson's contribution. Field repair doctrine today traces directly to his innovations. Rapid repair, vapor control, risk management. These principles taught at Army Ordnance School. They don't always mention Patterson by name. But technique is his, principles are his. Understanding that safety comes from controlling variables, not avoiding work. That's his legacy. Museum exhibits about World War II tank maintenance sometimes show welding equipment. Display cards explain field repair techniques. Mention speed improvements in 1944. Most don't name Patterson. History forgot him, but welders know. Professional welders who study their craft's history, who research hot work techniques, who learn vapor control and risk management. They find Patterson's name in technical journals from 1940s. Find his technique documented in Ordnance Department manuals. They understand. He revolutionized field welding, proved you could work safely around fuel if you understood chemistry, saved thousands of hours, saved hundreds of lives, all because he refused to accept impossible, because he applied oilfield knowledge to military problem, because he understood what textbooks couldn't teach. Real expertise comes from doing, not reading. Lesson stands today. When regulations say something can't be done, question whether regulations reflect physics or just habit. Patterson questioned, found the physics allowed what habit forbade. He risked everything to prove it. Could have died. Could have been court-martialed. Chose to try anyway because young men needed their tanks. That's courage without glory. Taking enormous risk. Achieving enormous result. Never seeking recognition. Maybe that's truest heroism. Not battlefield charges. Not dramatic gestures. Just expert doing dangerous work correctly. Because work needs doing. Because others depend on it. Buck Patterson welded hot tanks in 1944. Scared, careful, correct. Did it 47 minutes at a time. Changed armored warfare. Saved lives. Then went home. Welded pipelines. Lived quietly. Died working, perfect ending for a welder. Doing what he did best. Until the very end. Next time someone tells you safety regulations prohibit solution, remember Patterson. Remember that true safety comes from understanding risk, not avoiding it. Remember that sometimes the suicidal method is actually safest one, if you understand the chemistry. And remember, best experts are often people who worked the problem in different context. Oilfield welders understand tanks. If you listen, Patterson's legacy isn't monuments. It's technique still taught, lives still saved, understanding still applied. Good enough for any welder.